Good morning. Good morning, all of you. Welcome to this webinar series of Composite Regional Center for Persons with Disabilities, Kozhikode. Today, we are going to discuss about universal design for learning, its significance, and need in inclusive classroom. Universal design for learning is an emerging concept. And in a simple way, we can explain what is universal design. Universal design for learning provides the opportunity for all students to access, participate in, and progress in the general education curriculum by reducing barriers to instruction. Friends, see, it's very clear what is universal design from this sentence is that is provide opportunity for all students. All students means students with different abilities, different needs sitting in our classroom. So all are getting equal opportunity for to access to the education, access to the classroom, access to the curriculum, access to the various activities in the classroom, and opportunity to participate in same different activities of the classroom, different programs which a teacher is planning for her curriculum, and getting an opportunity to progress to his level best, to his maximum, or we are ensuring the progress of each student in the classroom by designing the universal design for learning, this approach. By adopting this approach, we are ensuring the progress of each child, we are ensuring the progress, a participation of each child, we are ensuring the access of each child to the general education classroom, and at the same time we are reducing the barriers to instruction. That's what design, that's what universal design. Here we are reducing the all barriers, all barriers. Now let us see the next definition. So here this is another explanation, another way of explanation of UDL, universal design for learning. The design of instructional materials and activities that makes the learning goals achievable by individuals with wide differences in their abilities. Yes, it is. We know that in an inclusive classroom, we know there will be students with visual problems, there will be students with hearing problems, students with intellectual varying intellectual capacities, and may have children with learning issues, learning disability, specific learning disability, slow learners. So this design address all such categories of children, all the such categories, and makes the learning goals achievable by all this. All the students with wide differences in their abilities. And this explanation was given by Counts for Exceptional Children. Now we are just looking into we are moving to the brief history of UDL. And the history starts from 1950s, and 1950s the idea of barrier-free design has emerged, in Europe, Japan, and US. And at that time, the emphasis was given on removing obstacles, and to ensure the participation of people with physical disabilities. Then, in 1970s, the idea expanded to normalization and integration. You know what is normalization and integration. Okay, and at the same time, disability rights movement moves had started. Okay, and uh, in 1980s, remarkable changes happened in 1980s. Okay, nationwide communities formed, and uh, and the people of different groups formed, and they started fighting for their rights. Okay, so in 1987, the World Design Congress held at Netherlands, they passed a resolution that, okay, universal, I mean, barrier-free design. Okay, designers should consider factor disability and aging into the design. That was the resolution. That's the resolution of the World Design Congress held in 1987 at Netherlands. Okay, you can see Ron Mace. He was an US architect. He is the first person use the word universal design. Universal design. So in 1990s, American Disabilities Act and the various acts has given legal support to this universal design, the concept. So even even though at that time the universal design had just had a focus only on architectural design, removing the obstacles, architectural obstacles. Uh, at the same time, different roots of UDL are founded in early civil rights and special education legislation that emphasize the rights of all students to free, appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. And in the history of disability studies, in the history of special education, history of rehabilitation, lot of acts had passed in various countries, in India also. All these acts had given, all acts had worded that uh, free and appropriate education in the least restrictive environment. Free and appropriate education to persons with a disability in the least restrictive environment. In order to provide such free and appropriate education, okay, education system had to make such changes, had to make barrier-free environment, and now we are talking about universal design for learning. In Indian acts like PWD Act 1995, RPWD Act 2016 also gives stress to free and appropriate education. How this free and appropriate education can be given? It's possible only when it's possible. It is possible when we create barrier-free environment, when we create a classroom, I mean, learners-friendly classroom. In that sense, universal design for learning is also so very significant. I'm not able to know. Yes. So this universal design, repeatedly I repeat, universal design. That framework has three important concepts. One is architecture design. Second one is development in education technology, and the third one is discoveries from the brain research. So uh, uh, we had a focus. I mean, till date, or we had our most of the. Mostly the focus was gone to architectural design. Recently, that shift had happened. We are just focusing on universal design for learning. We are creating the learning curriculum, assessment, and except everything learners friendly or accessible to all children. So we know what is universal design in architecture. Nothing but designing building from the beginning with flexible universal design principle, so that all can use, all have equal access. So this universal design, architecture design, based on the follow these principles. Okay, principles of universal design are equitable use, all can use. So, for example, ramp. Okay, all can use. All can means people with different age, different abilities, different education background can use the lift. So that's it means that it's created by using that idea, universal design. Okay, it's flexible in use. Okay, if you're claiming that this product is designed, this products have the merit of universal design, then it should be flexible in, have the quality of flexibility, and it should be simple and intuitive, perceptible information. The information should be perceivable, all can see. I mean, people with the low vision or from the different I mean uh, from enough distance. Okay, tolerance for error means what? If some a small mistake is happening by the user, then the cost of that error should not be high. So suppose if a mistake happened when a person using the lift, the cost of that mistake is slight means what? So the cost should be, the tolerance, the cost should be very minimal. Low physical effort. Okay, a good I mean product which developed by this principle, that is universal design, then that product takes low physical demand, low physical effort, and size and space for appropriate use, community of learners, instructional climate. Instructional climate is another important thing. Okay, climate environment where uh, where we use this product, it's important. So these are the principles of universal design, especially in architecture design. Okay, and now we are moving to exclusively to the universal design for learning. Till time we had discussed what is universal design for learning. We just had a look at just meaning of universal design, and we saw the history of universal design, and we discussed the universal design in architecture and the various principles of universal design. Now this is another way of explanation of universal design for learning, UDL. It's a research-based set of principles to guide the design of learning environments. Guide the design of learning environment, the classroom, curriculum, assessment, evaluation. It's a design of learning environment that are accessible and effective for all. Accessible and effective for all. All means, children with various abilities, children with various disabilities. Okay, including children with gifted. Okay, and the first in universal design in architecture, we focus on eliminates the barriers in environment. Ramp, creaking ramp, wide doors, um, good seating capacities, seat, desk, bench, accessible desk, accessible bench, uh, wheelchair bound, elevator, accessible classroom, etc. Focus on the environment and uh, benefits all people, not just those with disabilities. If our environment, if our classroom is barrier free, so all people will enjoy. When you talk about universal design for learning, it eliminates barriers in curriculum. Eliminate the barriers in curriculum means at this point we have to see the curriculum in a large perspective. Large perspective. Curriculum means content, we say syllabus, Curriculum means the method. Curriculum means assessment, evaluation, process. So, curriculum in a large perspective. So, we are eliminating the barriers uh, in imparting curriculum, barriers in conducting assessment, barriers in evaluation. So, for what purpose? Why we are eliminating? Why we are eliminating? So, if we are eliminating for to make education accessible to all, education or teaching accessible to all will benefit uh, from such design, all will learn something, all will enjoy the class, all will learn, I mean, uh, the class, I mean the content, benefit all learners, not just those with disability. Both architecture design as well as the learning design for learning uh, is all will enjoy, not only the persons with disabilities or children with disabilities. So, what is the need of such a design in inclusive classroom? That's important. What is the need of such design in an inclusive classroom? So, it's common sense. I mean, it's very simple to understand. If you have such a design, which uh, uh, which that design accommodate all, address all. In that case, that improves the learning outcomes and learning environment for all learners. Okay, if it works well for people with functional limitation, it works well for everyone. So the teachers should understand that. So we are such design. So sometimes the teachers in the general education classroom have that feel that this design is exclusively for persons with disability. Not like that. This design is for all, not only for the person with disability or children with a disability sitting in your classroom. It's for all learners, irrespective of abilities. Okay, so and this design removing lot of barriers in learning. What are the barriers? It's removing school organization and resource, and has approaches to teaching and learning and culture and policies, building and physical obstacles, relationship amongst the community. So such that universal design for learning is removing a lot of barriers in learning or in imparting curriculum, and it has following qualities. This universal design has the following qualities like inclusiveness. Okay, inclusive, accommodating and accept, I mean accepting all, physical access, delivery method. It touches, it deals with consider the delivery method, adapt the delivery method, modify the delivery method. So we modify the method, we thinking that should should be appropriate to all, and the information, all the information which you are providing in the classroom will be accessible to all. All will understand your class. All will understand the information you are passing in the class, and it's give the opportunity for the interaction of all students sitting in your classroom, and at the same time is give you the feedback. Okay, and it helps to demonstration of knowledge for students. Help you are designing in such a way, there will be a lot of activities, there will be a lot of programs which by which you can understand the knowledge level of your students. Okay, so these are the some qualities of universal design for learning. Okay, so now we are moving to the core principles of UDL. These are the core principle or guiding principles of UDL. Here, there are three important core guiding principles. They are representation, engagement, and expression. Very important. Representation, engagement, and uh, engagement and expression. Okay, so let me talk about these three networks of neural networks. So, studies of the brain have confirmed that the three main networks are active during learning, that are affective network, recognition network, and strategic network. This affective network are responsible for the why of learning, why I learn. They control our emotional involvement, motivation with learning, such learning, and our ability to focus and remain engaged with the task. So this affective uh, affective network start, focus on our emotional involvement, our motivation, our motivation. So always a learner always think why I learn. So being a teacher, we should motivate them. Okay. Then next, another recognition network. Network controls the what of learning. What? Okay. They are responsible for receiving information and forming concept. What? What I should learn. Okay. Then the third one, strategic network. Strategic network, how of learning. They are responsible for planning, executing, and monitoring our actions. So, so I guess you understood these three things. Uh, uh, Brain. Okay, studies of the brain say that the three main networks are there for active learning. One is strategic network, second one is recognition and affective. Affective focus on the motivation, okay, and recognition focus on what to learn, and strategic network focus on how to learn. So now see, multiple means of representation to increase recognition of, I told you, recognition network, part of learning. Then uh, strategic recognition, strategic network, how of learning. So, what should I learn? Okay, how should I learn? Then why should I learn? Affective network. This universal design, UDL, these guiding principles address these three networks, address three, satisfy three networks. Okay, so it gives answer to the students. Why should you learn? What should you learn? How to learn? Okay, that's why that's why it says that's research-based design. Research-based design. Okay, and you see recognition network. In network, suppose in recognition network, educators provides multiple means of representation, presenting different the informations be present in a different way. There, the learners become resourceful and knowledgeable. In diverse and strategic network, multiple means of expression, multiple means of expression. Okay, we give the opportunity to we give the opportunity to the students to express in a different way. Okay, then where what happens? Strategic and the students become strategic and goal directed. Okay, in affective network artwork, so we multiple means of engagement. Okay, different we engage students in a different way. Okay, different activities we plan. So the result is purposeful and become purposeful and motivated learners. Okay, and this is another important thing. Representation. Representation. Use of multiple means of representation, you see, provides options for perception. Perception means we know how the information is perceived. Okay, we in order to ensure the in order to address the perception issues, we when you present the things, okay, you can develop charts like that, your videos, you can your diagrams, okay, you can see, you just ensure that whatever you are presenting, the charts, videos and everything is perceptible, okay. You can customize the display of information, okay, you can customize the auditory information. Then second one is language and symbols. When you present the multiple means of presentation, here multiple means of presentation, so you will you consider, you work on language and symbols which you are going to present in the classroom. You will design in such a way that the language which you are using in the classroom is understandable by all learners, okay, the symbols which you are using is understandable by okay, all learners, okay, and vocabulary, symbols, everything you will select accordingly and appropriately, okay, appropriately. Then provide options for comprehension. When you present the things, when you uh, present the things, whatever the information you are presenting uh, should be comprehensible or comprehensible by all learners, okay, means in a simple way. For to make the comprehension, to ensure the comprehension, you may use different strategies, like pictures you may use, videos you may use, you may go for play, you may go for acting, you may go for uh, some other method, but purpose is that should be comprehensible. So that's a multiple means of presentation, okay. Universal design, the one of the principles of core principles of universal design is multiple means of presentation. So in that, perception is should be considered, language and symbols which you use should be uh, taken care. Comprehension, you must ensure the comprehend, you should present in such a way that the content but presenting in the classroom is comprehensible, or you are present accordingly, okay. Another point is expression, multiple means of expression. Here you provide physical actions, okay. Here expression, you are giving varying opportunity, varying options for expressions, okay. Physical actions, okay, they can be uh, play, okay, can be written, it can be oral. Then provide options for expressive skills and fluency. We have, when we have children with specific learning disability in our classroom, or children with dyslexia, see, they cannot be able to read, okay, as you wish, as you think, or as according to the age. Uh, their as they may not be able to read as their peers read. Okay, in that case, you can give another option, another opportunity. Can give another opportunity. Options to express. Okay, so options for execute, provide options for executive functions. Okay, so now let us talk about the third point, engagement, multiple means of engagement, where you will provide options for recurring interest. Engagement. You have to engage them. You have to help them to retain their motivation. Okay. Here, why learning? Why I should learn? Okay. We have to engage them in a different way. Okay. Their motivation, effort, and motivation, then provide self-regulation, options for regulations. So when you give an opportunity, if when you plan different activities for engagement, you are ensuring the uh, you are ensuring the full involvement, okay, all-hearted involvement of the learners, okay, their commitment, they are ensuring you are they're increasing their motivation, okay. So these are the core principles of universal design, core principles of universal design. And now let us move to the next point. Now, UDL in practice. Usually we talk about four pillars of a curriculum. That's their education goals, materials, methods, and assessment. UDL touch on all these aspects. UDL touch, UDL work on goals, will work on materials, methods, and assessment. Okay, and in traditional way, in traditional approach, in instructional goals, the means for accomplishing the goals are intervene into the instructional goals. It's a common goals. Here in UDL, means goals means of attaining the goals can be individualized. We are here, the goals are individualized. We plan, we have a goal for each child. In traditional method, in the traditional approach, we have a common goal for a class, but here we have individualized goal. What this child should be attained after my class, what this particular child should going to attain after my class, like that. Okay. uh, in material, mostly we use in the traditional approach we use print. Okay, and everyone get the same material, but in UDL approach we use variety of materials, variety of levels of printed text, digital, video, audio materials, and all this uh, appropriate to all learners. We uh, suppose we have a child with low vision, will having large print items material. Okay, um, and we prepare the digital things etc. accordingly. Okay, like that. And in case of method, traditional usually lecture style, we use lecture method. Okay, common grouping. But in UTL, we avoid limiting presentation style. Okay, use frequent questions, statements of clarification, and solicit students' participation, and assign students to working groups by mixed abilities for complementary skills, and provide adapted materials for taking exams, everything. Uh, Method which we use in the classroom, that's very important. Actually, this is one of the important points. Method which we use in a UDL classroom. Okay, we use different methods. Only point is what is in our mind is the method which I am using in a inclusive classroom should be appropriate to all my learners. Okay, all should have, all should learn something. All should understand the teaching. All should understand the way I teach, content what I am going to teach. Like that. And assessment same. In traditional approach, we use end of chapter test, multiple choice question, hypothesis, etc. But in UDL, we ensure test objectives match instruction objective, and we already discussed that we have individual goals. So the test according we have an individual assessment method, and consider alternative means of delivery, different question format if needed, and modification on assessment content and etc. So assessment we makes assessment also individualized. Okay, appropriate to the each learners. Okay, that's what. Uh, Four pillars: object, goal, assessment, method, content. All four aspects of a curriculum. Where in UDL we will do modification accordingly, appropriately, means accessible to all learners, appropriate to all learners. And now I would like to invite your attention to the lesson format, which lesson format which we usually use. This is a format which we usually in our class. It's a very simple format. We will write an assembly number, name of the teacher, class, division, subject, uh, concept, unit, and here we have a common objective. And we have in my classroom there is two students, student 1 and student 2 need special attention, special care, and they are not able to follow the general objective, general method, general way of teaching. So I have to design my classroom appropriate to these students. Okay, so I will have a opening method, how I am going to open my classroom. I will plan. Then here I will write how I am going to present my topic, multiple means of presentation, how I am going to engage, motivate them, engage in the activity, how I am going to give, what options I am going to give them to express their learning, understanding. So this is a simple format. This is an example. So objective here, the subject is geography, unit is the universe and solar system. So my concept, what I am going to teach in my classroom is solar system. So the objective of the class, the general objective is the student will explain solar system, sun and planets in solar system and their characteristics. So my first student with uh, having different ability, I have a specific goal for that first student. Student will name the planet Earth when asked. Okay, to name the planet on which we live. So he has to say Earth. Okay, the student two, he is further uh, having again and further delay, further issues. So student will point to the sun and earth. Okay, guess the student 2 is a child with intellectual disability. Okay, student 1 is maybe a child with mild intellectual disability or slow learner. Okay, so I had specific objective in this case. I have common objective. I have a specific objective for one student 1 and student 2. Now my opening is teacher will show a short video of the universe, stars and planets and introduce the topic to the class. So uh, how I am going to use these fundamental principles? Multiple means of presentation, multiple means of engagement, multiple means of expression. You can see multiple means of representation. Show a video of sun and each planet in the solar system displaying its characteristics. So I will show a video. So all can. It is easy for all learners. Instead of going for a lecture method, if you show a video, they will understand better way. So I can use a PPT on solar system, specifying the features of sun and planet, each planet. So further I will use have PPT, PowerPoint presentation, and show the third way. Show a chart of solar system and sticks sun and planet. So a chart and there I stick sun and planet. So the student will can see, okay, visualize the things and they can learn easily. So these are the multiple means of presentation. I am presenting in a different way. So I am sure, and I guess that suppose a student with intellectual disability, at least he will understand the video. Otherwise, he will have a click when I explain with a chart and stickers. So uh, I am explaining in a different way. Multiple means of engagement. How I am ensuring the engagement. Divide them into a groups and provide materials to throw solar system. So another method is prepare a chart of sun and planets with its features. So I'm ensuring the motivation, active percentage, active engagement. So third one is multiple means of expression. So I'm giving options. So the name of the planets they can say, orally they can say, answering objective type questions with the multiple choices. I'm giving multiple choice options so that they're having a problem in verbal explanation, they can write. Okay, displaying a setup of solar system on the floor and ask students to jump on sun and each planet say its features. So another activity I'm planning. So surely I am very sure a child with intellectual disability can actively participate, and he can express his understanding when I plan such activity. So providing flashcards with pictures of sun, planets, and features. Students are asked to arrange them. So another way of activity I'm planning to express their understanding. So this is the way we can plan the lessons for uh, universal design for learning. This is what universal design for learning. This is what universal design. We are keeping these three principles in mind and planning our lessons. Okay, then it become uh, it, automatically it's become design appropriate to all learners. That's what universal design. A design become appropriate to all learners, address all learners, access all I mean accept all learners, engage all learners. That design is called universal design. Okay. Uh, so So we were discussing about so now I hope you understood the concept. What is universal design? Okay. So any questions? So concluding that universal design is an emerging concept and research-based concept had a research support of a lot of researchers. It's very useful in inclusive classroom, and it this method address all learners, especially in inclusive classroom. We have learners with various abilities. We have learners with various disabilities. So if you have a plan, if you are adopting a universal design, means we provide different opportunities for engagement. We present the things in a different way. We try to engage the students using different activities. So we ensure, only thing is that the net result what we want is that all should learn, all should understand, all should enjoy the class. That's what university design. So when we talk about university design in architecture, we know that all will enjoy the environment, all have access. So there is no barriers. Okay, it's very easy to move around. In such a way, the same way, when you talk about university design for learning, the same concept in curriculum. Curriculum means method, goal, assessment, and approach. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for attending this session. And CRC Code is conducting various um, types of seminars from on various subjects. So I can request all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the session. Okay, nice, nice.
Wonderful.